being an alchemist, where you are now utilizing this relative concept of duality in order to formulate a greater understanding. And so duality is part of the journey. You came from oneness to place yourself in duality in order to understand the oneness. What this is speaking to is, what comes to mind is something Alan Watts said, which is a knife never knows itself onto itself, meaning a knife can never cut itself. So it will never know the sharpness of its own blade to itself. A fire never burns itself. So it will never know its own heat, its own flame. The only way it knows itself is by its interaction with the other. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so in the mystery schools, they will speak about this all universal intelligence split itself or created the duality just so it can look at itself and learn itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? But go to you, your question.
Yeah. No, I was just to what you just said, um, relating it to myself, and I'll say obviously it can be related to anybody, but I'll say as men, because we're seen as the builders of the earth, always trying to be logical, is
Mm-hmm.
something that I'm very guilty of as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to understand, break down mentally, go, and
Mm-hmm.
using the heart space is like you have to feel it, be in it.
Right.
And even the information we're saying about hamster wheel, there's so much information out there
Mm-hmm.
that it comes to a point where it's like you can be consuming and consuming and consuming and not doing and being.
Right.
So yeah, so and almost like when you're saying about birth, like even when you've mentioned all of that, my brain, when you was talking about what we came from darkness and order was birthed from chaos, my brain immediately went to, oh, chaos is more on the feminine side and order's more masculine. When
Right.
women
Yeah,
birth,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
feminine energy, and then like, do you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right. No, 100%.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head. That is what we regard as a feminine energy. First and
Mm,
foremost, like just to mention, like, because I understand where you're coming from. As a man within this society, we believe we are the builders.
mm,
When you get into this real spiritual teaching, oh no, the feminine is the master builder.
mm,
She's the master builder. She builds everything. She clothes spirit in flesh. She does the
mm,
work. Even on an atomic level, it is the electron, the movement of the electron that causes electricity and life and the building blocks for reality. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the electron is the feminine particle, whereas
yeah,
the proton is the masculine and the neutron is neutral. Do you understand what
yeah,
I'm saying? So even on the
mm-hmm,
atomic level, this understanding is taking place. And so as men, the journey for us is being able to surrender, right? Because we've been programmed that it's about the control. It's about the order. Do you understand what I'm saying? And on one level, like we said, we understand on a relative level that's necessary. That
mm,
that plays a part. But what we're speaking to here is we're trying to evolve the conversation. We're trying to move away from the 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 rationale that we've been speaking about for the last 20, 30 years. Do you understand what I'm saying? We can't say that we're entering in a new age and it's the Aquarius age and the age of information, but we're still talking and regurgitating the same shit.
mm,
There needs to be an evolution in the understanding. And for us men, that evolution takes place by surrendering. In fact, that's the game. That for all human beings down here, the game is to surrender. Do you understand what I'm saying? Women just have an inbuilt system or a process that allows them to do that a little bit more. Um, let me speak to this. Let me speak to this truth. So let me not. I'm not trying to speak on behalf of the women and what they do. They know what they do. But from an observer's perspective, when I witness my missus giving birth and the surrendering it took to be able to even do that, I said, "Oh shit." That's the same type of surrendering, or let me not say the same, but I can recognize that level of surrendering the same way you go in to do plant medicine. and you have to surrender to that which is. Do you understand what I'm saying? And anybody that's embarked on those journeys know what I'm speaking about. That's a game of surrender. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so the feminine principle is something that we all have to kind of embrace. We're in that feminine energy. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when we're speaking about feminine, we're not necessarily just speaking about it from a vaginal perspective, where we're trying to apply a cosmic understanding, because you're ultimately dealing with the oneness. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're dealing with masculine and feminine, you're more so speaking about the way how energy moves and interacts, rather than penis and vagina, although it represents the same thing. Especially when you get into the tantra sciences, that's a whole another level of spiritual magic, let's say. Do you understand what I'm saying? That sits out of our understanding. One of the laws, in fact, going back to the Kabbalion, one of the laws is the laws of gender, right?
mm,
And the word gender means to generate. It's generation, to generate. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the way you generate anything down here is the union of a masculine and feminine polarity coming together. You can't turn on a light bulb without the negative and positive fuse being on. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's the same with consciousness. You can't turn you ain't gaining no enlightenment or becoming conscious without those two polarities becoming one. But the game is here is you're trying to realize the illusion of separation. You're not you is you're not trying to really integrate anything. You're trying to remove the belief that you're separated. That's what you're really trying to develop. We're not trying to become anything. That's from a human perspective. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because the human's limited, and therefore it's always trying to know. Whereas the essence of you, the soul you, is all knowing. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's all knowing. And so we have to be able to differentiate between the essence of what we are and who we are, versus, and that starts with having an honest conversation with self. That starts with looking at what you define as your own self-doubts, your own guilts, your own anxieties. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is where the concept of shadow work comes into play. And shadow work is really enlightenment work, because what you're
mm.
doing is where the concept of guru comes from. The word guru means the dispeller of darkness, the dispeller of darkness. But the trick is here, the occult wisdom to that science is, you're not getting rid of darkness. It's more so an awareness that darkness is light. I was just blind to it. I was using these physical eyes that was incapable of seeing that form of light. Hence, I labeled it darkness. So it's a level of awareness. But yeah, you got a question, bro.
Yeah. So obviously I could, you can see what's happening. I think anyone that's um out and about now in the world, you're about on social media, is particularly in maybe what we would refer to, or most people refer to, Babylon. There seems to be a breakdown, probably worldwide now, obviously, because everyone's more connected, somewhat, of man and woman. And it
Mhm.
seems like on a physical level, on a physical manifestation, men and women aren't really gelling, and there seems to be, like, some people might describe it as what you've said, this
Mhm.
gender war that you've been hearing that's been going on now. And it's like men and women are, they're confused about what their roles are. If there's
Right.
roles, masculine, protector, this,
Mhm.
and what I mean, all these things. So I'm wondering, is this what's manifested in the physical, because there has to be a disorder, chaos, a dying for us to get it right, or is it just
Right,
so that that's because
right,
people need to go
right.
inward as well?
Okay, okay. So respect for that, especially the last bit. So what I would say, let me go backwards a bit. First and foremost, this ain't Babylon, right?
Mm,
The ancient understanding of these places, Babylon, the doorway to El, the gateway